Hey everyone, it's Jordan, also known as Scraps, and today I wanted to share with you guys something I've been working on. It's one of the 100 videos I'm working on. Although I think for this 100th video or whatever, I'm actually just probably gonna produce a catalog. Anyways, the main focus of this idea is that I created a crazy sound, and although my drops aren't really that great, I'm still working on it. I think you guys can use this sound for whatever arsenal you guys have for your music. So check out this sound. Alright, so what we want for our synth is to save a lot of CPU, so I'm going to use a combinator to hold everything together. Inside this combinator, I'm going to right click and create, or you can use control click or use a PC mouse to right click to create a Thor. Now for this Thor, I'm just going to open it up. And right off the bat, I'm going to choose, instead of a low pass filter, I'm going to choose a comb filter. I'm going to set my frequency all the way down. Excuse me. And I'm going to turn up my resonance. Let's see how much resonance we can do. I'm feeling about 48 could be okay. Yeah, 48. And I'm going to turn it to a positive comb. It's already set there. That's perfectly fine. And for my first analog synth, I'm going to change it to a phase modulation. This actually can create a lot more FM rather than an FM pair. It creates a lot more like dirtiness. It's really great for dubstep and growls. Anyways, I'm going to take my octave down to 3. And for the first, I'm going to change it to modulation wave 5 is what it says. And as for my second waveform, I'm going to choose waveform 4. Now this combination is pretty deadly because, well, I mean, think about it. Like, we have a lot of sine waves in with this. And so it creates kind of like a dull side. So to crank this, I'm going to turn it to 64 for the PM. And I'm also going to play notes so that way you can hear the difference. So that's pretty sick. Next, what I'm going to do, instead of turning on my second oscillator, I'm going to turn on my third oscillator. The second oscillator has some different preferences. And the third oscillator is completely separate from the 1 and 2. 1 and 2 kind of like do something weird, and I'm not really satisfactory with the sound. So I'm going to choose an FM pair. I'm going to boost it by an octave. I'm going to change the carrier to 4 and the modulation to 2. And just to be sure, the FM amount needs to be 52. If it's any other number than 52, the sound will change. So anyways, I'm going to route this out through filter 2 by pushing that button. I'm also going to choose oscillator 1 to go out too, so that way we have a raw signal. I'm going to turn filter 3 to another comb. I'm going to set the frequency all the way down. And the resonance, I'm going to set to 30. And I'm going to choose a negative comb. Now what we need to do is set up the LFO. So I'm going to turn on key sync. I'm going to set my tempo sync, and I'm going to set it to 1/16. And for the delay, we want that 0. Keyboard follow needs to be almost all the way, so about 104 should do it. For our delay, you can use this, but it's not recommended. I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna boost that to probably 1/8 triplets, or actually 1/8. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1/8 triplet should be fine though. I want to take my feedback all the way down to 16. My rate is, the rate really depends on how fast you want things to go. So this is almost 1/4 of hertz. Now the reasons why I'm being so very detailed with this, and the amount needs to be 64. And dry wet, let's take that to 30. The reasons why I'm being so picky with this synth, oh, and for the LFO1, that needs to be a rising saw, is that when you guys recreate something, it needs to be exactly the same way, because any other sound just doesn't work. Anyways, for my filter envelope, I want to take my decay all the way down. I want to set my attack to 3 seconds, somewhere around there. Yeah, that's good. I want to set my release time all the way down to 20, not like 23 milliseconds. Didn't mean to do that. It's like 552, somewhere around there. For my amp, so that way when we hold a note, we can actually hold it down longer without it going down. So I'm going to turn my decay and sustain up all the way. And now we pretty much have everything in place to start routing. So for my oscillator 3 and the source, I want to set that amount to be 30. And the destination is going to be our oscillator 1 FM. Sounds pretty dirty. So I want to filter this up a little bit more, fill it up more. So for our sources, I want to take my filter envelope. I'm also going to do that for the second and third slot, so filter envelope. And for our first filter envelope, we want this to be 74. And the destination is going to be our filter 3. Let's see, where is filter 3? Doop-a-doop, yep, filter 3 frequency. And for our third slot, we want this to be 39. And the destination needs to be our oscillator 3 FM. So that way when it hits, the release will kind of do something crazy. So for our fourth and fifth slot, I'm going to choose LFO1. For LFO1 on the destination, I'm going to take this down to -22. And I'm going to choose our filter 1 frequency. And for our LFO1, our fifth slot, I want to take it down to -61. You know, I have to get these numbers exact right, these amounts, except for the first 3. You need to have those. Let me zoom in for you guys. Let me zoom in like a lot. So the reasons why 30 needs to be there is, watch, I'll show you. And our second, if this isn't 74, listen. It kind of creates this like weird harmonic. And our filter third, our third slot, I'm gonna just play this for you guys so that way you get the idea. We're kind of shaping the sound to create more of a growl, like an actual real growl, rather than faking it. So for our final destination on our LFO1, we need this to be our oscillator 3 pitch. And that's a sound. That's what it should sound like. If you want to fill up more sounds with this, if you wanted to make it wider, I'll show you how to create this right now. I'm going to create an RV7000 advanced reverb, and I already have a patch set up for this. I'll put it in the description below so that way you guys can have this stereo patch that I have. I'm going to take the dry wet probably down to 15, so that way it creates more harmony and wide range. For the creative effects, I'm going to choose the echo. Take the time all the way down, turn it off sync, and set the milliseconds to 8. I want to turn up my drive to 46% and the feedback a little bit more, 40% for the feedback. I want to turn on keep pitch and nothing else. After this, I'm going to create a pulverizer to squash everything down. Not to completely squash it, but 20% on that should work. I'm going to set the spread, the tremor spread, and I'm going to have it be 16% towards the volume. I'm going to set the rate all the way down as low as it can go. And I'm also going to create, if you guys have a saturator extension, I highly recommend it. I'm going to use Softtube because their soft saturation is really nice. I'm going to set it to low so that way we don't, like, I don't know, explode or distort the sound. I'm going to create an M-class equalizer, and for this equalizer I'm going to turn on low cut, and I'm going to play a few notes. I'm also going to turn on parameter 1 and the gain all the way up and the Q all the way up. What this is going to do is I'm going to find frequencies that don't sound nice and remove them by switching the gain all the way down. But first I need to find those sounds, so bear with me. Okay, so 4,531 kilohertz is a bad sound, so I'm going to switch the gain all the way down instead of all the way up. And it sounds a little bit better. Next, I'm going to create an M-class maximizer, but before I create that, before you should create that, I want you to create a studio effects. From the studio effects, I want you to create a stereo imager. I want to turn it to the width, the low width, to 25, and I'm going to set the X over frequency to be 2 kilohertz. For the high band, I want to take this to -20. If you can't hear it in your headphones, if you turn on your speakers or your monitors or powered monitors, you can definitely hear the difference. So to wrap this up, I want to stick an M-class maximizer on top of it, take off limiter, put release to auto, turn on soft clip, and take the soft clip to 100. There we go. Now, if you notice, I don't spend a whole lot of time going over like, oh, you need to hold shift to get this down or whatever. The reasons why is in my preferences. If I go to general, for the mouse knob range, you can choose like normal, precise, or very precise. Very precise means you can go 1 through 100. Normal means that it will go from 1, 30, 50. It will choose like odd numbers. Precise means that you can kind of get numbers, but not all the numbers you want, and very precise gets all the numbers. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. I'm creating a catalog of 100 videos. I'm going to see if YouTube can handle uploading 100 videos to a single channel. But until we meet again, I will teach you guys something very crazy. So take care, and I hope to see you guys soon. Love ya, stay chill, and bye.